And I don't see any run on Everclear in the liquor stores, and it's not expensive. So imagine all these people running around trying to find hand sanitizer. You go in the liquor store, you pay $20, and you walk out with a quart bottle of 60% alcohol. Do it. And you just wash your children's hands, your hands, everybody's hands with Everclear. And if anybody comes close, you explain to them, hey, that smell, that's not me. Although I don't think you can smell vodka, but whatever. But Everclear, I believe, is in plentiful supply. No one has thought about this yet, but you have. And you buy some Everclear, $19.99 a bottle at high-quality liquor stores. It's not at Gelson's. It's not at markets, but you have to go to a high-end liquor store. And you take it home. And you've got all of the hand sanitizer in the 60% alcohol range that you need. Let's flip that around. I bought online some New Beauty hand sanitizer from China, labeled variously in their advertising as having 60%, 75% alcohol, and when the package shows up, the word alcohol is on it, but absolutely no numeric representation as to the alcoholic content of the product. If you've dealt with purchasing Chinese goods, that means that it's a lie, that they're advertising here that it's full of alcohol when in fact it's not. I did my own experiment, and what I did was I took some standard High Five Anytime American-made sanitizer, put it on my hands, and took a big whiff. And my nose burned. Wow! That alcohol burnt like friggin' crazy. I then took New Beauty hand sanitizer from China, rinsed my hands first, and then put some New Beauty on my hands and smelled it, and my nose was not in any way aggravated. It was, if there was alcohol in New Beauty, there wasn't enough in it to affect my nose. So I believe that even though it looks like Purell hand sanitizer, I believe it's a phony product. I believe it's a scam. And I've asked Amazon if I can send it back. But that doesn't mean, if you weren't sharp, like I was, self-congratulatory there, I bought some bottles of alcohol not long ago, about 10 days ago, when everybody was saying, oh, it's gone, you can't find it anywhere, God, it's gone. Well, I was in another chat room, and I told them I found it in a liquor store right down the street, $1.29 a bottle. So what you can do is, once your bottle of New Beauty, your little Purell-looking bottle, gets down about a quarter of the way, you fill that up with your alcohol, and you shake, 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 shake. You want to hope that you get enough alcohol in there that you want to try your best to turn the solution into as close as you can to 60% alcohol. If you can get that solution to be 60% rubbing alcohol by putting 100% alcohol in it, I think it's 99.99. But you put enough into where you can get it up to about 60% alcohol, now you've made a very nice Purell-style hand sanitizer. And you can just do your own test. Put it in your hand. Rub your hands around. Don't touch your face. Of course not. But put it up where you can smell it. And if it barks at your nose, ow, ooh, boy, that's alcohol in there, then you know that that stuff will work as a hand sanitizer or foot sanitizer, and you have now just made yourself your own bottles of Purell. They're going to come in, when you do all the math and everything, come in at just under $8 a bottle by buying, I think, 4 of them from China for $29, where they're advertised already as having the alcohol, and then you have to add some alcohol that you find yourself. You might want to find the alcohol first. It might be impossible at this point to find alcohol, because I did tell everybody in the chat room I was in that threw me out for being so pessimistic that the location of the last alcohol that I found. Okay. But this started with do not pray. is where I said, don't do anything that takes you away from actually working. Don't do anything that takes you away from helping your children. Praying will not help your children. Washing their feet, washing their hands, finding something you can do that'll teach them to keep their hands away from their face and their nose and their mouth. And I don't have a method for this, but if you can look at possibilities for making sure that when they urinate, the droplets do not go into the air. And remember that when you and everybody else defecates, the coronavirus is in that toilet already. Whoever went before you might have dropped the coronavirus in there. So you have to be careful that it doesn't get into you. I don't have any scientific information on methods. Maybe you could be looking that up. Maybe you could post those here. But that's something that we have to be looking at, because apparently, according to all the disgusting research, that's the number 4 way that it's passed, by fecal communication. How about food safety? Now, there's actually 2 big issues with food safety. We'll call them A and B. A is refrigeration where you are. Now, I'm facing a horrible choice here. My hotel, in order to save money, has all of the refrigerators turned down to 0, or turned up, should say, so that they put out no cold air. So all the food you buy and say, okay, I'm going to cook this tomorrow night, by the time you get to tomorrow night, it's spoiled and looks like a science experiment. And I've talked to them. There's nothing you can do. They just will not fix it. They say, oh, we'll send somebody up to look at it. And they send up the same crooked repairman who stole my wallet and my cell phone. So that's something that you want to be looking at. You want to make sure you do not eat any food that is spoiled. Now, luckily, nature gave us a pretty good food spoilage detector, and that's our nose. If you sniff the food and it smells in any way funny or unusual, hear that? If it smells either bad or different than it's supposed to smell, toss it. Don't risk it. Don't listen to people who say, well, it's okay because we're going to cook it. Don't eat it. You cannot afford in these times to get food poisoning, because there's no one who can help you. There's no doctor. The only thing you could possibly do if you got it would be get Imodium, so that would stop the diarrhea. But the question is always, do you want to stop the diarrhea? Stopping the diarrhea makes your experience more pleasurable for sure, but if you stop the diarrhea, your body was trying to get rid of that food. Your body went into emergency mode saying, this food here is bad. We have got to get every last trace of it out of here or it's going to kill us. And that's why you have diarrhea. So remember, when you take things like Imodium, which is a lifesaver when you need it, but you just stopped your body's ability to get rid of the food. So now the poison food stays in you longer and can cause much more damage. Whoa, that is a Sophie's choice. Which one do you want to do? I don't have an answer for that. The concomitant, the similar choice that people have, what about when you get the fever? Now, we know that coronavirus, a very common symptom is fever. Doesn't seem to be a terrible fever, but it's a fever. Now, this is confused by many people who are in their 60s feeling a little bit feverish all the time. Why is that? Because our temperature goes down 1 degree when we get over 65. So we always feel a little bit cold. A little bit, I don't know, feel cold, I don't know, put a blanket on. But what some people do, I guess out of habit you'd say, would be take either aspirin or other fever-reducing medicines. But you don't want to do that unless you have to, because your body, when it gets hot, it is doing that for the purpose of killing off an invader, a foreign virus, bacteria, germ. So if you feel your body getting hot, in other words, a fever coming on, don't automatically assume that the best thing is to take fever-fighting drugs, because your body turns up the heat to kill the germs. If you take those drugs, you'll probably feel better. If they work and they drive the fever down, you'll feel better, but you have just handicapped your body's ability to fight the germs and viruses because you took away their turn up the heat defense. It's a very tough question. I don't have an answer. Okay. But we're talking about food safety and the importance of not eating any spoiled food. So that means you're just going to buy food that's in boxes and cans so it doesn't spoil. Now that's going to bring up, where am I supposed to cook it? Well, if you're at home, you're okay. I just bought a new stove for my new house, so I'm going to be cooking meals for nobody. But what I did when this whole thing started, and you can still do this, there's no shortage, is I bought an induction cooker. And the one I bought was overbuying. There's no point of buying the fancy one I did, but I thought it might make things easier. It's made things worse. But I have an induction cooker, and remember, with the right selection of pans, I can use the induction cooker as a slow cooker. I can use it to cook the oatmeal in the morning. I can use the induction cooker as a frying pan. I just used it this morning to cook or to toast, let's say, my English muffins. I use it to make beef stew. I'm using it today to cook my all-time favorite dish, stuffed onion leaves, courtesy of Jess Smith, pedophile TV cook. And so these induction cookers are really a godsend if you don't have anything. If you're, let's say you're stuck in a hotel room, or if you're in public housing, God forbid, oh my God, please realize that could be the solution. And some of these induction cookers are very cheap. You can get them down to about $30 or $45, and I don't see any problem with a used one. You can get a used one for $10 or $20, other than the problem of having to come in contact with the person selling it. So that is a solution to cooking and food. Let's go to the flip side of that. What about food safety deliveries? That's one of the very, very, very few areas where there's good news. But there is good news, and that is it looks like the risk from food delivery is extremely small. First of all, the scientists are absolutely certain you cannot catch it from food. So, if your waitress or waiter accidentally or on purpose, I guess, sneezes on your food, you cannot get the disease by eating the food. Now, if you were standing where they sneezed, but if the cook in the back room is cooking your meal and he sneezes on it and he has coronavirus, if you eat that food, you will not catch coronavirus from the food. That's terrific news. That also makes almost all food deliveries from restaurants, takeout places, whatever, it makes them pretty darn safe. You are not risking much. There is the risk of packaging. If they touched it with their bare hands, there could be some fecal matter, there it is again, on the packaging, which you really don't want to come in contact with. And yes, if it's on the packaging and you touch it with your hands, then you touch your face. But that's why when the packaging comes in, you're going to spray it with one of those disinfectant sprays that I warned everybody about a month ago to buy. I don't see any now, but there was plenty of it on the shelves when everything else was gone. There was plenty of Clorox, kills 99% of viruses, spray disinfectant. And you just spray that on the outside container of your food, give it about 30 seconds, eat your dinner. Okay, that's the way to do it. I'm not a doctor. I don't really want to get in. Somebody sent me a question. How are they sending me questions? All right. Why is it safer if you eat it than if breathing it? That's because your defense function of your breath, of your mucous membranes, is all it is a bunch of cilia that are going to push the bad guy back out. Well, that's not much of a system. Your stomach, everything that goes through your stomach gets doused with a healthy dosage of sulfuric acid. Which acid is in your stomach? I'm trying to remember. Is it sulfuric acid? One of the horrible, really nasty acid. And that's how your food breaks down. Your stomach pours acid on it. So if the coronavirus is sitting there on top of a piece of apple that you just ate, and it goes into your stomach is going to put a nice chunk of